Hello everybody, this is your main man Keith here from Keith Plays PS4 927. Happy Wednesday afternoon to all my awesome viewers on this awesome channel. We are in Game 5 of the West Eastern Conference first round playoffs for our 07-08 Boston Celtics series. And we are just one win away from advancing to the Eastern Conference semifinals. And we are probably going to face off against either the 12-13 Heat or the 2001 Philadelphia 76ers. I'd like to see probably the Philadelphia 76ers match off in this because the Celtics and the Sixers, they're Eastern Conference rivals, so they've played it against each other throughout the decade, so that's going to be something interesting to see along the line. So if we beat the 15-16 Cleveland Cavaliers today, we will advance to the next round of NBA playoffs. And I can't wait till NBA Finals because we'll probably play against the 95-96 Seattle Supersonics in the finals. So we'll see you guys then. We're going to show you the uniforms first, though. Alright, so the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to be wearing white on the road. Their classic home 10-17 uniforms on the road at TD Garden, and the Boston Celtics are going to be wearing their classic away 05-14 green uniforms at home with the word Celtics on their jersey. So without further ado, we'll see you guys at tip-off. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is tip-off time here in Boston. So the Cleveland Cavaliers have won the tip-off. So LeBron James is going to pass it over to Tristan Thompson for a dunk. So it's now going to be a 2-0 Cavaliers lead. So now it is Ray Allen with possession of the basketball. He is going to knock down the first three of the game, and it is now going to be 3-2 for the Celtics. Kyrie Irving going to pass over to Ivan Shumpert, and Shumpert is going to drill a three, and it is now going to be a 5-3 Cleveland lead. So now Rajon Rondo with that layup. It is 5-5 here in Boston. So now Kyrie Irving going to his future home site where he would end up going in during the 2017 offseason, and Paul Pierce makes a dunk. It is now 7-5. And now LeBron James, the Akron, Ohio native, going to pass it over to Kyrie Irving. So now Paul Pierce makes a steal. He's going to knock down a three for the Celtics, and it's now going to be 10-5 here in the TD Garden in the Massachusetts state capital of Boston. And there is a foul on Paul Pierce, and that is a reach-in foul. So now Kyrie Irving, he's going to pass it over to Ivan Shumpert. So Kyrie Irving is going to get the assist off of that. So now we're going to pass it over to Kevin Garnett. So now Garnett gets it in there for 2 points. So it's now 12-8 here in Boston. So now Kyrie Irving losing the basketball. Kevin Garnett makes the steal. He's going to pass over to Rajon Rondo. So Garnett is going to get the assist. And it is now going to be 14-8 here in Massachusetts, here in the New England state. So they're going to pass over to Ivan Shumpert, gets that three in there, and it's now going to be 14-11. So we're going to pass over to Ray Allen, and then Kendrick Perkins using Rondo, and then Paul Pierce going to go into the paint, getting this one in for two, and it's now 16-11. All right, now Kevin Garnett is going to pass over to Rajon Rondo, and then Paul Pierce driving it in for the layup. It is now 18-11. So now Kyrie Irving losing that basketball. So now Paul Pierce is going to make a dunk in the paint. It is now 20-11 here in Boston. So now Ivan Shumpert losing the basketball there, and Kevin Love picking it up. So now Ivan Shumpert loses the basketball, so now we're going to pass it over to Paul Pierce. So now Paul Pierce gets this one in for two. It's now 22-11. Boston is leading this by halfway. There's only 1 minute to go in this quarter, but LeBron James gets fouled by Paul Pierce, and now Paul Pierce and the Celtics have to give LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers possession of the basketball. So now Kyrie Irving losing the basketball. So now Glenn Davis passing over to Rondo. Rondo with that layup. It is now a 13-point Boston Celtics lead, and the Cavaliers are taking a timeout, so we're going to take a short break. All right, it is now 24-11 here in Boston. So now Leon Paul, I'm going to pass it over to Rajon Rondo. He will get this one in for two, 21.9 seconds to go. And the Cavs are down by 15. So Mo Williams losing that basketball. So now Rondo, I'm actually going to step back, pull a three for Rondo. Or a two-pointer, actually. It's actually a three-pointer. So it's now 29-11. Matt Dellavedova losing the basketball. And it turns out we still, yes, that is an amazing effort by Boston playing some strategic defense here. But now we're going to use James Posey getting this one in for two. It's now 31-11. And I'm thinking Boston will probably score 100 points by the end of the episode. So now Richard Jefferson pulls it in for two. And it is now going to be 31-13. So now layup in. Does not hit the buzzer beater, so we lead this one by 18 here at the TD Garden. 31-13 is the first quarter score here in Boston. All right, it is now 31-13, so Boston is up by 18 points. So now Ray Allen, we're going to attempt a three-pointer for him. So Ray Allen, he is going to make this three fly, and it's now going to be 34-13. Boston up by 21. So Cleveland did not score very much in the first quarter, but Matthew Dellavedova losing the basketball, then picking it back up, and he's going to pass it over to Mo Williams. So Williams is going to get this one in for three, so they don't trail as much. So we're going to use some Tony Allen getting this one in for 2 points. So it's now 36-16. And Cleveland is 86% in field goals. Meanwhile, for the Celtics, they are 100%. So now Boston playing some consistent defense along the lines with 3 minutes and 8 seconds to go. Channing Frye, Dellavedova getting this one in for 2 points. So we're going to pass it over to Ray Allen, and we took an early timeout. All right, it is now 39-18. We're going to pass over to Tony Allen and then Leon Poe and then Kevin Garnett getting this one in for 2. So it's now 41-18. Kevin Garnett, big ticket with 4 points already in this one episode. And now Garnett is going to make this steal for Boston. So now Garnett going to go into the paint. There is a foul on Richard Jefferson. It's a shooting foul. So this means that Kevin Garnett is going to go to the free throw line once at it. He actually gets it in. So it's now 44-18. LeBron James going to pass over to Kyrie Irving. But then LeBron James losing the basketball. We're going to pass over to Brian Scalabrine. And Brian Scalabrine gets that layup there. Iman Shumpert has a shooting foul. So this is crazy to think that we are less than 2 minutes away from halftime, and we have already scored 47 points in this game. Crazy to think about that. So, Iman Shumpert losing the basketball. Kevin Garnett picks up the rebound. We're going to pass over to Brian Scalabrine, and then I'm going to use some Ray Allen action. And Ray Allen hits that three, so it's now going to be 50-18. Cleveland is down by 32 right now. And there is a foul on Brian Scalabrine. It's a reach-in. So Kyrie Irving and the Cavaliers have possession of it. So Tristan Thompson passing it over to Iman Shumpert. So Shumpert is going to make that three happen. And it is now going to be 50-21. Make that 52-21 because LeBron James had a foul and Kevin Garnett scored. So Boston has 20 points in the paint. Cleveland only had 2. So Garnett is going to go to the free throw line, make that 53-21. And we're actually going to take a break for our depth chart substitution. All right, now Paul Pierce with possession of the basketball. He is going to knock down a three for Boston, and it's now going to be 58-23. So Iman Shumpert with possession, losing the basketball. The Cleveland Cavaliers have possession. It did go out of bounds, though, but Cleveland still has the possession no matter what. So it's 58-23. Cleveland is down by 35, actually 33 since they scored it in. So now Rondo going to pass it over to Paul Pierce. So now Paul Pierce is going to get this dunk in one-handed. And it is now 60-25. So Boston is up by 35 at home. Kyrie Irving losing the basketball. So now Paul Pierce makes that steal. And he is going to go into the paint, gets it in there for two. And it's now 65-22. 27.4 seconds. We are up by 37. So we're on, if we make a three or make a steal, then we'll probably be up by 40. So now Ivan Shumpert with possession. I don't know where he's going to take this direction to. Going to pass over to Kevin Love, which, by the way, Kevin Love is the only remaining player on this 15-16 Cavaliers team that is still with Cleveland today. Like, he's the only remaining player from that championship route. And Mo Williams gets it in there for two. We're going to pass it over to Paul Pierce. And we actually get this one in. It's now 64-27. So Boston is looking red hot. And Kyrie Irving attempts that three from half court. Does not go in. Halftime, Boston's up 64-27 to end the first half. All right, Paul Pierce, 22 points in the first half. We got Paul Pierce out on that court, going to make a three for Boston. Now it's going to be 25 points for him today, and Boston is up by 40. So now Ivan Shumpert losing the basketball, then picking it back up. So he's going to pass it over to LeBron James. So Rondo making that steal, going to pass it over to Garnett, and then Paul Pierce with a dunk in the paint. It is now 69-27 in this episode. So now Kyrie Irving losing the basketball. Paul Pierce making the steal, making the dunk happen. It is now 71-27. 29 points for Paul Pierce today, and he is looking red hot. And it is Kyrie Irving losing the basketball. So now Garnett going to pass it over to Pierce, gets it in for two. It's now 73-27. LeBron James going to pass it over to Ivan Shumpert. Going to pass it over to Kyrie, and then Shumpert going to pass it over to Irving. So now Irving going to pass it over to Shumpert, and Kyrie Irving has like 4 or 5 assists in this episode. Paul Pierce with 31 points and Ivan Shumpert with 16. They are both the scoring leaders for both teams. And look at Boston taking that 46-point lead. There is no way the Cavaliers are going to win today's episode. So now Paul Pierce makes the steal. And we're going to go into the paint with 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the third. It's now 77-29. 33 points for Paul Pierce today, and 9 from mid-range. And Kevin Garnett has a reach-in foul. So Cleveland still has possession of it. So they're going to pass it over to Mo Williams. So now Mo Williams going to go up. There's a foul. Tony Allen with a shooting foul. So this means that Mo Williams will go to the free-throw line. He gets the first attempt in. Will he get that second one in mind? Yes, he will. And it is now going to be 77-31. So now make that 79-31. So Cleveland is down by 48. There's no way in possibility that they're going to win. They're down 81-31. Cleveland has 18 turnovers, and 39 of those points were used for Cleveland's turnovers. So now Ray Allen going to hit a three for the Celtics, and it's now going to be 84-31. So now Mo Williams losing the basketball, but then Tristan Thompson picking it up. So Mo Williams passing it over to Richard Jefferson, and Jefferson gets it in. It's now 84-33. So now we got Ray Allen going to hit a three, and we are actually going to take a break. 87-33 is the score at break. All right, it is now 89-36. We are back from the break. It wasn't even that long, to be honest with you, but Rondo is going to get that in for 2 points. We are just 9 points away from scoring the big 1-0-0. And now Matthew Dellavedova losing the basketball. And now Matthew Dellavedova going to make that spin move, passing it over to Richard Jefferson for a 3. And Tony Allen passing it over to Kevin Garnett. So now Garnett going to get that layup in there for 2, and it's now 93-39 at the moment. So now Mo Williams with the possession of the basketball. Picks it up. He's going to pass it over to Kevin Love, and then Channing Frye going to go into the paint for 2. It's now 93-41. So now Paul Pierce hits that 3. It's going to be 96-41. 8.4 seconds to go. And Paul Pierce is going to make a steal. Going to make that in for 2. It's now 1.4 seconds to go. 98-41. We just need only 2 points away from scoring the big 1-0-0. And this ends the third quarter, so Boston is up by 57. We'll probably have like 130-some points probably by the end of the game. We'll probably score like 30-some points and have the final score like 130 to be like 130 to 55 or 60-some. So that's going to be exciting. But right now they're doing their depth chart substitutions. They're not even doing the player of the game or whatever. And I think we're going to put in maybe Brian Scalabrine for that matter of the fact. So now Cleveland is out on the court right now. 98-41. So now Tony Allen almost attempts to make this steal. It does not go successful. So now Mo Williams passing over to Channing Frye. And I'm going to pass it over to Paul Pierce. And Paul Pierce makes the dunk for the team's 100th point of the game. And Boston is up by 57. And they are going to send the Cavaliers home. So now Paul Pierce with that elusive talent among it. 42 points. And there's only 3:28 to go in the game. So we will send the 15-16 Cleveland Cavaliers home, and we will advance further on into the playoffs. So now Mo Williams losing the basketball, Paul Pierce making the steal, making the dunk happen, and it's now 106 to 43. So 46 points for Paul Pierce today, and the Cavs take a timeout. LeBron James just hit a 3. It's now 115 to 52. So we've made 6 more threes, than the 15-16 Cleveland Cavaliers. So now Cleveland's bench is outscoring the Boston Celtics bench by like 12. So now Sam Cassell going to pass it over to Glenn Davis. So Glenn Davis gets it in there, and Mo Williams gets the foul. And Davis is going to go to the free throw line, and it's going to be 120 to 52. So Boston is up by 68. They are going to be your winners of this series. So now Williams with the possession. Going to pass it over to Smith. So Smith passing over to Jones, and then Williams getting it in there. And we're going to take the timeout to do our depth chart substitution. Alright, Paul Pierce is your player of the game for the Boston Celtics. I will explain the numbers after the game, but from what I have last checked during one of our breaks, he had like 55 or so points. So now Allen going to make that 3 fly. He has now 21 points in today's episode, Ray Allen. So it's now 123 to 54. Ray Allen is going to make a steal, and it's going to be 125 to 54. So 47.3 seconds to go, And Garnett makes that steal happen. It's going to be 127 to 54. And I think this might be the highest scoring that we've ever done. 130 or something was like the max that we've done. All right, so now Kevin Garnett is going to pass over to Rajon Rondo, and then Ray Allen going to hit a three. And it's now going to be 130 to 54. So we are going to take the dub at home. We send the Cavaliers home. So now Williams is going to pass over to Channing Frye. Gets it in there. So it's now going to be 130 to 56. So now Paul Pierce getting that one in. It's now going to be 132 56. And they're going to pass it over. And 7 seconds to go. We are going to take the W in Boston. So this is going to be a great accomplishment for the Celtics. And the Celtics advance on to the second round. So the Cleveland Cavaliers do not. So 132-56 is your final score. I knew that we were going to score 132 from the very beginning of the game, because we had 31 in the first quarter, and then by second half, I think it was like 70 or 80 some points. Paul Pierce, 57 points, 1 rebound, 11 steals, 9 dunks on the day, 7 for 7 from behind the arc. Ray Allen, 26 points, 1 rebound, 4 assists, 2 steals, 8 for 9 from behind the arc. Kevin Garnett, 16 points, 1 rebound, 5 assists, 4 steals on the day. Rajon Rondo has 13 points, 6 assists, and 2 steals. So Tony Allen had 6 points in all. Ivan Shumpert, 16 points in all. Richard Jefferson, 12 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. LeBron James had 7 points and 1 assist on the day for him. So the Boston Celtics were pretty much advance into the next round. And I'm thinking we're probably going to play the 2000-2001 Philadelphia 76ers. So without further ado, I'm signing off, and we'll see you guys in the second round.